So let's start out and talk about a practical way to use ChatGPT that is not exactly business related, but still very applicable in our line of work, especially in the restaurant retail industry. So one of the things that I always try to do is be a good consumer. And many times after I go somewhere, I try to write a review and post on, whether it be Open Table or Google Reviews or Reddit or any of the open reviews out there. I try to patronize the restaurant, provide a good review. If I have a bad experience, I like to let the manager know so they can hopefully resolve the problem. And, it actually really helps to build relationships, especially if you go back to call on that restaurant later on for any kind of business service. So this is one that I do all the time, and I have a very long chat opened up, but I'm going to use Lilani's on the beach in Maui because we used this recently when we were there for RSPA Inspire. And basically, I just said, write a review of Lilani's on the beach, mention the amazing drinks, appetizers, and the hula pie dessert, and real local honey. Also, mention that we were there while on a recent trip in January. So I'll open this up and let you see the result. And you'll see this is what chat wrote for me. So it says we visited Lilani's on the beach during a recent trip in Maui in January. It was one of those meals that just felt like Hawaii in the best possible way. Right away, the drink set the tone, tropical, well balanced, clearly made, not only sweet, not watered down. And so it gets in here and it gets into pretty good details, and it makes me sound really nice and professional when I write this review. And now I can just copy and paste this right into whatever Open Table or Google or whatever I'm reviewing. Now I'm going to do one just so you can see it in real time. Keep in mind that because I'm using the professional version of ChatGPT and I'm logged in, Chat already knows who I am. It already knows about all the other reviews that I've written, so it kind of knows how I like to talk. It knows things like if I say GF, that means girlfriend. It's already figured that out because I've told it earlier. It knows that I live in Colorado, so it knows a little bit about me, so I don't have to tell it quite as much. But I went to a place last night called Grandview Restaurant, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to say, write a review of Grandview Restaurant in Colorado Springs after an anniversary dinner last night. Mention the view, incredible view, the mountain air, and the amazing Wagyu steak. Also the frozen, I'll even do this spelled wrong just so you can see that it fixes it and it's smart enough to know. The frozen sherbet for dessert. I'll tell it we did not have any alcoholic drinks. And that's all I'll say. And now I'll go boop, and it'll write it. And let's see what it comes back with. So, celebrate our anniversary last night at Grandview Restaurant. It's the perfect place for a special occasion. The first thing that stands out is the incredible views, looking over the scenery, and it talks about all these different things. Now, one thing that I can do is I can add one other little tidbit, and I can say, go look at the website and find some specific dishes like apps with cabbage, because I remember we had some kind of cabbage app and we had some kind of crab dip app, and mention those by name. So if I tell it just a little bit more and I say, go look at the website, it'll actually go out and figure out based on whatever they've got on their website, which this is probably a toast site, and it'll actually go figure out off of whatever what it has there. So we'll give it just a second. Hopefully it'll pop back here in a minute. Okay, so that took just a little bit, but it came back and it says, again, kind of similar, overlooking Garden of the Gods, because it didn't know that before I told it. It went and got that from the website with the red rock foundations and the crisp mountain air, the evening light. Then it talks about how the food more than lived up to the atmosphere. We started with a couple of appetizers like the crab dip and the cabbage forward starter. So it didn't figure out what the name of the rest of that one was, but in many cases it will. For my entree, I had the Wagyu steak. It was amazing. We finished with the frozen sherbet. And I would probably leave this last little bit out, but sometimes you'll edit it, change it up just a little bit. But this is a great, simple tool and a great way to use AI for something very basic that we all use probably on a daily basis.